God, you are here and we are here. Now, Lord, may we be here together. And may the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Please be seated. So we begin our third Sunday of Advent. And I think we begin this third Sunday with a question. And the question is this. There's a couple questions, but this one is, what are you looking for this Christmas? Now, I put a new Tesla and a house in southern France. What are you looking for this Christmas? Actually, it's the Advent question. It is one that we have directly from the lips of John the Baptist. But I think it's a question ultimately for all of us. Are you the one who is to come, Jesus? Or should we wait on someone else? Are you the one who is to come, or are we to wait for another? Because this is ultimately the truth about Christmas. We're waiting for the birth of Christ to be born in us anew, if you will. And the early folks in where we just read from this gospel were waiting for a Messiah, a Savior. And they had expectations of what that would look like. And the truth is, we too have expectations, don't we? What we expect from God, what we want, maybe from the church, or maybe even what we want for Christmas. Sometimes, though, we know that life doesn't necessarily go as planned, does it? And this is what was happening with John the Baptist in this gospel reading that we just had. Now, you all know that John the Baptist was the man. He got his name because he's the guy that baptized Jesus. He was the one calling, "Prepare the way." He was the bold and brash guy. And now, he's in prison. He's in crisis. He's in chains for speaking the hard truth to Herod. And that will do that. When you start speaking truth to power, that'll get you in trouble. And here he was in prison. He was the one who zealously proclaimed that Jesus is the coming Messiah, that there's a new king coming. And now he finds himself not so sure of himself. Now, have you ever been that way before? You know, where you're absolutely positive and that you know that you know that you know. And then, all of a sudden, something doesn't go right, it doesn't go your way, and you begin to question the validity of what you believed. And this happened to John. John's perspective has changed. He's gone from freedom of the wilderness to the confinement of a prison cell. And no longer was he prophesizing about Jesus. No, instead, he was questioning Jesus. Because here's the reality. He was in pain. He was in doubt. And Jesus didn't seem to be meeting what John had envisioned for Jesus to be and for Jesus to do. Jesus wasn't meeting John's expectations of a king. So I ask you, does Jesus meet your expectations? See, like I said, sometimes things don't go as we plan, do they? Life throws us curveballs. So John sent some people to Jesus. He'd heard about what Jesus was doing, and he asked this question, and this is a question for us. Are you the one who was to come, or are we to wait for another? See, John's doubt is common. It is the same doubts that we have in many, many ways. I mean, we charge ahead with life, right? With our dreams and our plans and our visions. We're optimistic about the future and what we're going to do. Maybe there's even some of you that said, you know what? God's called me to vestry. Or God's called, come on, y'all can go along. Okay, God's called me to ministry in some way, shape, or form. God's called me to be a priest. I get to wear a stole on Sundays. And You discover, though, all of that optimism, all of the hope, all of your dreams, all of your plans, all of your expectations are hit by life's challenges. It could be many, but an illness, a loss of an important relationship, a loss of employment of some sort, or any other thousands of crises that cause us to suddenly stumble and lose our confidence and question our faith and doubt if he really is the one who he claims to be. And when imprisoned with disillusionment, of doubt and grief, we ask just like John, are you the one? Are you really the one? Or should I look for someone else? See, because the truth is, we all looking for a Savior, aren't we? Now, sometimes I looked at my 401k, hoping that's going to save me. Sometimes it might be my career. Sometimes I may be looking for some relationship of some sort to save me. But I'm looking for something to come in power, to make sure that I'm going to be delivered. And that's what John was looking for. And that's what we all look for. See, John expected, though, a powerful king. He was looking for a powerful king. He didn't like Rome. He was being occupied by Rome. And this king's coming. This Messiah is going to free us from Rome's oppression. He's going to kick Herod in the teeth and get him out of here. Expected a powerful king. And instead, he gets a self-emptying, vulnerable Prince of Peace. A ruler that insists on serving rather than being served. A ruler, a king, preoccupied with the least, the last, and the lost. A king who does not rule from the love of power, but instead by the power of love. Are you the one, or should we look for someone else, Jesus? King who comes to serve instead of being served? Rules from the power of love instead of the love of power? Are you kidding me? Jesus in an AA meeting? Are you kidding me? Jesus healing Hondurans? Are you kidding me? Jesus in a church kitchen baking beefaroni and bread pudding for hungry strangers? Are you kidding me? Are you the one? Or should we look for someone else? Jesus, a king, giving hope and a fresh start to the hurting and helpless at a homeless rescue mission? Are you the one? Or should we look for someone else? Jesus giving hope to unwanted and neglected teens and loving them back to life? Jesus in line with the disenfranchised, waiting for an ID and hopefully a restored dignity? That kind of king? Are you the one? Or should we look for someone else? Who are you looking for? And what are you expecting? Jesus driving an old church bus through freezing rain up an icy mountain so some rowdy teenagers will know that they matter to God? Jesus packing 50,000 shoeboxes with toys for unknown and forgotten children? Jesus sitting at an open table and transforming poverty and igniting one's potential through friendship? Are you the real deal, Jesus? Or should we look for someone else? Who are you looking for this Christmas? Jesus told his friends, go back and tell John what you see and what you hear and what's happening in this world and what I'm doing. He said, go back. The blind see, the lame walk, lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, and the dead are raised. The forgotten, the forsaken of the earth learn that God is on their side. and that lives are being transformed and forever changed by the power of this love, this mercy, this grace. I am the one. Do you think I'm the one? Then you decide. You see what I do. You see what I am. You decide. Who are you looking for this Christmas? What are you looking for? Are you looking for the one who can touch the least, the lost, and the last in you? The one who may not give you your Tesla or your Southern France house, right? But the one who can give you life, that life that you long for beneath the surface of all that you can see, that place inside that often feels unsettled, the one that can birth life there, the one that can restore you. See, we claim that Jesus comes as Emmanuel, God with us, the one who holds on to us when the world feels like it's falling apart, one who doesn't come in judgment and condemnation, but one who comes full of grace, full of mercy, full of hope, full of healing and restoration. Emmanuel, God with us. Who are you waiting on this Christmas? Jesus, are you the real deal? Or should we look for someone else? The one who enters into our suffering and reminds us that we are not alone, that God hasn't abandoned us. And the one who promised us to bring us through all things, even death, to new life. Who are you looking for this Christmas? See, most of us pride ourselves, I mean, we're Americans after all, right? We pride ourselves on being compulsively self-reliant, right? At least that's the way I was taught. I mean, it's almost offensive in America to be in need. So we hide our insecurities, our fears, our sin, and our failure. We hide those places deep within, we bury them, we keep pushing them down until we don't see them anymore. And we don't notice them anymore. And they're hidden. So we hide them from ourselves, we hide them from others, and we sometimes think we're hiding that from God. Because that's what we think we're supposed to do. To be self-reliant, to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. And maybe that's a good thing to make it in this world or on the football field or something. That's not the way to freedom and peace and love and joy and healing and restoration. See, to the degree that which we are compulsively self-reliant, we'll wonder. We will always question. To the degree that we are self-reliant, we will always question whether or not the one who was born in a stable, that was laid in a feeding trough, and ultimately the one who was hanged on a cross is the real deal or not. We'll always wonder that. See, we will always question whether or not the one, Jesus, as we claim, the one who was taken, the one who was blessed, and the one who was broken, and the one who was given for us, as long as we're self-reliant, we'll always be wondering, is he the one? Is he the real deal? Or should we be looking for someone else? What are you looking for this Christmas? You know, I say it every week, that you are loved, that we are loved with a love that we didn't earn. And therefore, we can never lose. We're free not to hide and pretend or be compulsively self-reliant. See, because at the same time, the degree to which we admit our need and identify the lost and the broken parts of ourselves and with the lost and the broken of the world, we discover in Jesus a God who is once and for all with us, for us? Is Jesus the one, or shall we look for another? This is the question of Advent. I heard a preacher, Victoria Curtis, I don't know her, but she said, if your answer to this question is yes, then you are saying that in Jesus you see what God dreams for you, and in Jesus you see what God dreams for God's world. To say yes is also to say yes to what we are called to be and called to do. Extend God's unconditional love, grace, and mercy in thought, word, and deed to a hurting, fearful, broken, scared world. To say yes, Jesus is the one, means what theologian Howard Thurman wrote. When the song of the angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and the princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flock, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among enemies, and to make music in the heart. In doing of these things, we answer the question, yes, indeed, Jesus, you are the one. So may He stir up His power within us, that we too can once again believe and know without a doubt of the one we're expecting is indeed the one.